Hello and welcome to this video. Today we'll be discussing something which is important for every React application, that is creating breadcrumbs, right? Breadcrumbs, what do you mean by breadcrumb? Breadcrumbs is like the navigational path that you've undergone when you are navigating from one page to other. For example, if you have seen, there are two different things. One is the menu, or the kind of the toolbar is there, right? Toolbar below, or the menu bar above, where you click on like home, about, and contacts, and you click on that particular you know um, particular icon or a particular menu. I mean, I'll share my screen and show you, so that it will be you can understand it clearly. What do I mean by menu bar and what is a breadcrumbs, right? So this is okay. I've opened Excalibur. Um, Let me open some other page so that I can show you nicely. Okay. They don't have breadcrumbs over here, so I'll open just Amazon and then I'll show you. Let's see. Okay. So in Amazon, you see this is called the menu bar. Okay. So now this menu bar has what? Menu bar has these all these kind of places where when you select on these links, you go to the particular link, right? If you open Confluence, you will get a good breadcrumbs. Like suppose, let's see, if I go to bestseller, do I have a navigation thing like? Okay, so if I click over here, okay, it is navigation. No, 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 no. No, they don't have a navigation over here. So let's go to Confluence. Okay. So Confluence. Let's open Confluence. In Confluence, I know it is there. Okay, it is asking for keeping. Or okay, so uh, breadcrumbs is like uh, the um, historical view of the pages that you have visited. Like if there is so suppose, see, home is there, about is there, contact is there, and then some other services is there. Four tabs are there in the menu bar, right? But inside home there can be home details, right? Inside home detail there can be one more page. So if you want to have that path completely like the user has taken, that means if the user has gone deeply nested pages, okay, and the user wants to come up to the most parent one, that is the top one, how the user will come, or something in the middle page, if the user wants to see how the user will come, right? I mean, you can't have a link in the menu bar for every page that you want to navigate to, right? So for that case, you need breadcrumbs. Like what I want to say is, I can okay. Since Excalibur is there, I'll just show you. Now you see, this is my website. Okay, in my website, um, let me get one more triangle here. So this is the our menu bar, right? Now here, if I just write here, I just write here home. Okay, home is there. Okay, so let me bring it down. Huh? Home is there. Now, and there is about. About is there. Okay, and then there is here contact is there, for example. Okay, and here there is services is there. Write in caps. Services is there. Okay. Now these are the four tabs that is there um, in the menu bar, right? Now, suppose in the home, I will, if I click on home, I am having inside home there is details like maybe something like, okay, if the site is kind of thing that this is a retail site, like this site we buy some accessories, okay, home accessories, for example. So if I click on home, I will see a page. Let me create a page over here. So this page is there, right? Okay, so now the home will have something like do we have a table? No, the Excalibur doesn't have much help here. Okay, so let me write it over here. Okay, so what will be there? So I'll write here accessories. Okay, and accessories I might have like mm, so this is what apparel, right? So let me write, like in Amazon we have for men, and here below I'll write for women. Okay, So here I'll write for kids, like this is the, now you clicked on men. Okay, so when you clicked on men, what has happened is, suppose you imagine that I don't have a, it will not open in the sidebar here. That means I'm saying that if I click on men, I don't open in the sidebar here, the men section. So if I click on women, the women section. If I click on kids, kids section. Like that, it is not there. Okay, if that is there, there is no need of breadcrumb because you can see everything. I want to show something which is not visible. Think that when I click on men, this entire page goes away, and then the section for men comes out, right? That means everything goes away. Or maybe what we'll do is that when I click on men, I navigate to the men page. Okay, somewhere like this. Okay, so let me zoom out a little bit and let me create this. Let me move this guy here. Okay, now the web page looks something like this. Okay, now this here, and let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, and for men, okay, now this tool me, let me paste this guy here. Okay, I have to increase the size so that it will look like a website. I could have copy pasted, but okay, it's okay. Let's create. It's good in creating something. Okay, so the menu bar remains the same. Only thing is that I have clicked on men, so the men products comes over here. Okay, and in men, what I will have is I will have something like this. Maybe jeans, maybe t-shirt. Okay, then there is trousers. Okay, then there is sports wear, something like this. Okay, so like this is there, and then there are other sections also. Now you see what has happened is I was there in this particular page. I clicked on home, I see the accessories, I clicked on men. When I clicked on men, the website changed from here to here, like this. I move to men. Now if I want to go back to home page, I can click out the home page. Sorry, if I want to go to maybe the women section, what I have to do? Suppose I want to go to the women section, or if I want to go to accessories, or if I want to go to home page again, okay, I have to either click on the home page or click on the internet browser back button, the browser's back button, or the third option is we can have a breadcrumbs attached to it. So breadcrumbs will look something like this. Let me expand this guy over here a little bit. Okay. Now let me expand this guy to here. So the breadcrumbs will look something like this. Now, so initially I don't have breadcrumbs, but now the breadcrumbs will look something like this. Okay, so this is the uh, okay. So let me move this guy here, right? Okay. Now the breadcrumb will look like this. That I have navigated from home, then I've come to men. Okay, so something like this. Okay. Now, if from men I click on jeans and jeans also open a new page, then I have got, then breadcrumbs becomes what? It becomes men, then becomes jeans. Okay. Now, if I want to go to home, I can click on the home button, home in the menu bar, that I can do. Or I can click on home here, then also it will navigate to the home page with this loaded. Okay. If I want to go to men section, then I don't have anything in the top menu bar over here. I don't have a men tab over here, right? I have home, I have about, I have contacts, I have services, right? But I don't have a men section over here. So I don't have to click men. So here breadcrumbs comes in good picture. If I click on men, I will have this page loaded. Okay. Similarly, if I have gone to women, for example, if I've gone to, so I could have selected only men or women, right? So if I would have selected women, the breadcrumbs become home, then women, then maybe kurtas or something. And then maybe inside kurtas, what different kinds of kurta. I have no idea about that. So that this is the navigation path that the user has followed to reach a particular page. So these breadcrumbs will come into use when we are creating enterprise apps. Enterprise apps is bigger application where hundreds and thousands of pages are there, like Amazon.com, right? So hundreds and thousands of pages are there. And if you want to, if you want to enable the user to remember the navigation part so that it will be easy for the user to navigate, then we create breadcrumbs. In Amazon, there is no breadcrumbs because the Amazon structure is something like this. They have the sidebar. In the sidebar, when I click on men, the men section open here in the right side only. That reason they don't need, they are showing everything at what the user has done, right? But if you are in kind of reloading a page with a new page, if you're like how I clicked on men and then jeans and this page came, in that case, you need breadcrumbs. Okay, now we are clear about breadcrumbs. Now let's write some code so that we'll understand how breadcrumbs we can write, right? Okay, so where is machine coding? Okay, I just created one folder. I'll not, you can get all the code from ChatGPT. I'll just give you an idea how to create breadcrumbs, okay, using React. Okay, so there are three ways in which you can create breadcrumbs. Okay, I will write an example by creating a diagram. I'll show you how to create breadcrumbs. Now, first way of creating breadcrumbs is I just write here breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs can be created through three ways. Okay, one way is application. So the context, so that is React context, because we need some kind of storage, right? Redux or just, and why we need some storage, because when you are navigating from one page to another page, I have to remember not only the label and link for that particular breadcrumb. So if it is a simple link, that means if the routes are simple, like slash men is like slash men, right? Path is simple. For a particular path, there is a component, then it is easy. But if there is a dynamic routes are there, that means the routes are dynamic. That means the routes are formed through the data of the API call. That means API call happens, some data you get, you use the data in the routes, right? That means those are dynamically formed routes. So in that case, you need to have a, you have to maintain some state. Why we maintain same state? Because how else, how will you remember that? So if you are going deeply into a particular page and you want to remember how you have navigated into that page, because the previous page that you have visited, that you have to remember that, right? Remember that means you have to have the details of that. What details you need? The label, in that case men or trouser, or that is the label. But the most important thing is the link, because when I click on men over here, when I click on men over here, I have to exactly come to this page. If I click on home over here, I have to exactly come to this page. So in that case, my path for men should be something. My path for men should be something like this slash. What is the base? You are like so it will be something like this. Sorry, it will be something like HTTPS Amazon.in. Okay, slash it is home. Okay, slash men. So slash it can't be men. I think it will be some ID will be there, because you are logging in to Amazon, right? So it will be something like this. Imagine that your user ID is there, something 123 something, the user ID. Okay, so this is the user ID. Might be user ID might not be visible, but maybe something like this like apparel ID, right? So it will be something like accessories. This is accessories, right? So accessories, okay. And for men, there will be accessory ID, something like this, some alphanumeric value, okay. Accessory ID, after accessory ID for then there is men, okay. So men, you went to jeans, right? So there will be ID for jeans, right? Some ID for jeans will be there, okay. So this will be the for men, okay. So the breadcrumb, this is the link, okay. So this is the link for that which breadcrumb, men, sorry, for jeans. So for we are creating for jeans, the link will be like this, and the obviously the label will be jeans, right? So label will be jeans, like how it is visible over here, okay. And the link will be like this. Okay. So this will be the for the jeans breadcrumb. That means for the jeans crumb over here, or jeans crumb over here, the label should be in this format. So similarly for men, there will be a label and there will be a link. For a home, so I'm telling this is very simple. I'm telling if you have navigated 15 pages and you have to show that 15 link, obviously breadcrumbs you shouldn't see like more than 4 layers deep. Like this is now 3 layers, home, men, and jeans. So maybe 4 or 5 max, right? So but remembering that is also very difficult, right? And there is layering of the breadcrumbs. Like if I move to after accessories, maybe some other products are there. If I move to that products, I might not see the men and jeans. I might see that product and jeans. In that case, the breadcrumbs are also changing dynamically, right? But if you want to remember those everything also, right? So in that case, this particular thing you have to keep inside a state management. That's the reason the state management React context, Redux, just and whatever it is there. Okay. Next is you can do it through local storage or session storage, whatever. It's better you do it through local storage, session storage. So the data is simple or cookies. Okay, these are the three things for using any kind of storage. Okay, if context Redux just and if this state management is bigger, then use local storage, session storage to do it. And third is the most vital one, and that is React router. Simple with React router, you can do it. So breadcrumbs can be done in this three fashion. Okay, and then through local storage, and third is through React router. These are the three ways in which you can do breadcrumbs. Okay, the most simplest way is React router, but React router also there are complex use cases that you can do through React router, that is also there. But the first preference you can give to local storage, session storage. Session storage will be good or cookies will be good. Next will be context if it is bigger breadcrumbs, and then React router is for very simple applications. Okay, okay. So let's go to code. So today I will discuss about context. Okay. So for context, you have to first create what one store you have to create, right? So without store, how will you remember everything? So let's create a store. Okay. So inside store, I will have breadcrumbs will be a application level. You can create an application store or the global store. So I'll just create a application context. Context is the same way of creating a Redux. So whatever you can do in context, the same thing you can do in Redux. Okay. Okay. Now, so this is the context I'm creating. So first what I will do, I will create a application context equals to, let me create this. I'll just stop share for a second. Share again. Okay. So what we were doing, application context, and then I'll use create context, right? So I'll use create context. Why this is not moving? So this is from React. Okay, create context will get it from React. That is not a problem. And then what I will do? Is, okay, I've already written some code over here. So I'm just referring to it. because a lot of code I've written for creating this video especially. Okay, now I have created this context. Okay, so this is the application context. So this context will be available across the application. I'll not write complete code. I'll just write in a explain. I'll explain the code so that you can go to ChatGPT and get the entire code. Okay, simple. So now this is the application context. Why this context is needed? Because this can be shared across the application. Okay. Now this is the context. What is the context? Context is basically which it's a React functionality which links to a store and it exposes the store across the application. Simple as that. Now after getting the context, I have to expose the context, right? So for exposing the context, I'll create a function. Okay. So what I will do is that I'll just create a const use application context. This is how we'll be using it. So this is the So here what I will do is that I will just create a context object. Use context is the it is from React. It is a hook from React, and use context I'll use the application context. So what I did, simple step, application context I created, and I created a context. I just need to check if this context is correct. If context is not a context, then what I will do is that just throw an error. Throw an error saying that okay, use the context within provide. Simple. Okay. It is not a context. Else you return the context. Why this is done? This is done just to expose the, so you could have done this inside wherever in there the component where you are going to use the context. Okay. Now this context is not attached to a store till now. Okay. So now what I will do? So I created a context and I expose the context. I can use now the context at everywhere. Okay, but not ready till now. We are not ready to use the context because two things we have not done. One thing is that we have not used the context across globally, that across the application, that we have, that setup we have not done. So here we are just exposing it. Okay, here we are just exposing it. Okay, but we have to first encompass the entire application app level. At the app level, the context would be there. Second is we have to attach the store to the context. Now let's attach the store to the context. Okay, so for attaching the store to the context, I'll create one more function. So I will create application context provider. Okay. Oh, so okay, I went there. Now what this guy will do is that this guy will receive, okay, this is simple function, nothing big here. What this guy will do is it will it will okay, so what it will do is use let me write, we'll use reducer. What reducer does is that it accepts a state. Okay, so it accepts the states and it modifies the state. Okay, through what? Through a reducer function. So it has application context reducer through which it will modify the state, and then it will receive the initial state. So basically it receives the initial state and then modifies the state accordingly. Like initial state is there is no breadcrumbs, right? But when you click on the men button, then I will dispatch an action which has the label as well as the href. Okay, and then I will modify it. That means I'll add that particular thing. That means I'm modifying the initial state that was provided to me, and that is done in the reducer. Okay, after modifying it, what it will return back, it will return the modified state and the dispatch function. Why it is returning this? Because we will be exposing exposing both the state as well as dispatch, so that in the breadcrumbs we can show it as well as we can modify it whenever we are clicking it, right? So now I got this And then what I'll do is that I'll just maybe I'll just write something like this. I will create an object. I will write here application context state in this particular state, and then the dispatch. So these two things I got. And what I will do is that, okay, not like this. So this is context value. Okay, let me write here something like this. Context value. So this value will be providing the provider. Okay. So now there is a application context and there is a dispatch object which is there inside context value, and I'm providing the context value. Now to whom I'll provide the context value? Whichever the entire app should be provided this value, so that in the entire app, wherever the breadcrumbs you want to I mean, we can go deep, right? Wherever the breadcrumbs will be attached in the entire application, this particular context should be provided to it, the fresh value, the latest value, so that the state can be modified, right? Which means that I will be returning this particular application context provider. Application context is there, and this application context will have a provider. Okay, now this what it will do is that whatever you are getting it, that means wherever you are, whatever component you are choosing which want to use the breadcrumbs, in this case the app level, that will be provided with this particular value. That means this, there is a value property, and this value is the context value. Okay, which means that I have to use the children over here. Why I have to use the children over here? Because here the children will be the app level. So because context we can have at any level. At the we are talking about breadcrumbs, but here this is the application context, which means along with breadcrumbs I can have any number of any any other values, also any other like breadcrumbs is there, then some configuration will be there. There can be something environment things are there. Anything can be provided in the application level context. So context can be at application level, global level, or at the component level also. Okay. So breadcrumbs comes at the global level. That's the reason I've added. Now these okay. So now what you did, we had the latest state that is attached to the latest state is attached to the global level. Now this will be used where in the app level we will be using it, so that at the entire all the components will be getting the latest. Now if I have to use the reducer, this reducer what it will do is it will modify the state. Let's write all these things here, so that we don't have to come back to this particular place. Okay, so now this is nothing but a function, and this function receives what? This function receives one state, that is this initial state. Okay, and this state will be of type application state. Okay, if you are using TypeScript to write a state, or you can write an interface, right? Application state one interface you can write, and here I'll write the action, and the action will be of type I don't know, maybe action type. Okay, so action, or I have to write as interface. Okay, maybe action interface. Okay, let me write here interface int. Okay, gone. So we'll create that interface, or let's create the interface here only, so that so okay, so interface, so that interface is what? Application state is the interface. Now this interface has what you want to keep inside this. Okay, I am writing, I think, code related to TypeScript. But this is not TypeScript, this is JavaScript. Okay. But let's write, since we've started. So if you're writing in TypeScript, you can write an interface, or you can get you can write some types using React also. That is not a using normal React also in JavaScript, in JSX, that you can write. So if you're writing in TypeScript, you can write the application state as maybe breadcrumbs will be there inside the application state, and because along with breadcrumbs other things can be there. Okay, and breadcrumbs will be an array. Sorry, breadcrumbs will be an object, and that object will have items. For example, items or crumbs, whatever you want to write. Okay, let me write here crumbs, and these crumbs will be an array, empty array for now. Okay, like this you can write. And action int, if I write a interface of action, action int, it will be something like this, like it will be having it will be an object um of action of type will be a string. Okay, we're writing this one, right? Oh, we can't write like this. Okay, so it will be an array, and this will be an object, simple, nothing. So we can't write values. So type, and then there is href. Href will be also be string. Okay, so if you are writing in TypeScript, you have to write in this manner. Okay, so what we'll receive? We will receive state as well as we'll receive the action. What the action will have? Action will have some type and the payload. Okay, action will be having type and payload, not href. Okay, and then payload will be whatever payload you want to. Payload can be an object, can be a string. It will not be a string. I think it will be an object, and this object can be of type something. Okay. Okay, so now I'll get the state and I'll modify the state. So I will check the what I'll do. I'll check this, do a switch. If I'll just take this accent dot type, I'll check, and then I'll say that okay, if it is a the type is set breadcrumbs. Okay, so if the type is set breadcrumbs, for example. So if this is the type you are doing, then what I will do is that I will just call a set breadcrumbs method. Okay, and which will return the state, modified state. Okay, similarly there will be, maybe I don't know, maybe some case like update update breadcrumbs, so it will be written update breadcrumbs. Okay, if I want, I will obviously not delete it, so there will be set, there is update, there can be something like reset, right? Because we can reset breadcrumbs also, right? Okay, I'll not write the complete code. You'll get the entire code in ChatGPT. Just type breadcrumbs using React. So using context, you'll get a lot of examples. I'm just telling you how to think, how you think, plan, design, and then work out. Okay. So reset breadcrumbs. Okay. And these are the three different functionality that I've created. Okay. Now, if I want to set the breadcrumbs, so set breadcrumb. Okay, one thing I missed. Um, so this is just a function which will, okay, so what this they will do, 1 second. So there will be default. Okay, so default return state. So default is, I think default will be return state, right? Let me check. Correct only. Okay, so default will be return state. Because by default, if you type some other type, right, which is not either of these, then we just don't have to change the state, so it will return the state, right? So return the set breadcrumbs of this is correct. Now these what it will do, this guy will receive is the state, but we have the state, we don't have to pass here, right? We have the state. So this guy, what it will do is, so set the breadcrumbs, right? So for setting the breadcrumbs, what I'll do, I have the state. Okay, so I'll just write you something like this. This is important, observe carefully. So my initial state is okay, I've not created the initial state, right? So initial state. So the initial state is an object which has breadcrumbs, which is an object which has crumbs, like how I have written above. And it's an empty. So this will be const initial state. Okay. So this is the initial state. Now initial state has breadcrumbs, right? So I have to I don't have to kind of clone this entire breadcrumbs. What I will do is I have to keep a copy of the original state and then modify the crumbs accordingly, right? So which means that I have to use spread operator to keep the state, okay? And in that breadcrumbs I have to modify, but inside breadcrumbs also there is crumbs is there, right? So this crumbs array I can't kind of change the I can't I can't modify the I can't basically I don't want to modify it directly. So what I'll do is that I'll just keep a copy of the original crumbs like so inside the crumbs I'm having what uh, crumbs, and then what will come that I can change. So what I'll get is xn dot payload. Okay, so here xn dot payload will be an object that I will be getting which has the type and href. Okay, and inside the keeping the original crumbs intact. I think this will not work. I think we have to, because inside breadcrumbs the crumbs is there and crumbs is an array, right? So for array I can't here like this. I have to write in this manner. But that is an array. That's the reason it's showing error. Now it is gone. Okay, so this is how we keep the original without changing the initial state directly. We are keeping a clone of it, okay, and then modifying it based on whatever I get it. Okay, this is how we add data at the back of an array. I mean at the end of the array without modifying the original array, without kind of what you call manipulating the original array. Okay, so similarly for so see, and since I'm returning it, I'm returning the state, I'm returning the state, and then I'll get the updated state. So similarly for all these three um, functionality, same, right? Same for all the three. Reset will be, I think I have to set the crumbs as an empty array. That is reset. Update is okay. Set is, I think this is the value. Update is I'll check whatever value I'll get, and then based on the ID, I can have. I think I can have an ID, and then based on the ID, I can modify the particular. So that is what the update will be. Okay, this is a brief understanding of how the context will be created. Okay, now since I've created the context, I'll go to the app level and provide that particular context at the app level. So for that, we have to so here what I have to do is let me check how I have done, because we tend to forget everything. Same, there is no problem. Okay, so here I have to provide the basically the method that we had created. What is the method we created? We have created the method as, okay, not here, I think in the store we've created, right? The method that we've created is application context provider, right? So application context provider, application provider, whatever it is. So this is application context provider. So what I will do is that I will go to app.js. So here I can provide it as application context provider. So this component should be there. Okay. Now this application context provider encompasses the entire application. I think this should be added at the so now what it will happen is that this is provided to the entire app. So I think it shouldn't be here. It should be there in the main.tss, but I don't see a main.tss here. Let's see index.js. Here it should be there, not there. Application context provider. Okay, so this portion, it will be there. I think not inside strict, it should be here. Should be here. Okay. Now my entire application is now encompassed with a provider, and which will provide to the app. At the app level, my context is ready, and I can create a breadcrumbs component itself. And then so breadcrumbs component will be something like this. Okay, let's create a breadcrumb component. So this will be breadcrumbs. You can create your own breadcrumb, or you can use a component library. So what the breadcrumbs will receive? uh, it will receive some data, right? So now what it will do, return is simple. There is nothing difficult here. So I will have a div, what I will be getting in the data, right? I just need to data dot map. Okay. So I will use crumb. Okay. Or maybe I can use something like item. Then what I will do? So I have received in the form of data will be in the form of label and href, right? So simple, nothing here. So you just need to use a label, and you can use a label here. Okay, and that label will be what? Const label href equals to crumb. Simple. What happened here? Okay, so this is the way in which you can I think it's not taking this guy, but this will work. If I have to So I'm just exposing the label. That's it. Nothing important here. I can have a UL and LI and then do it. So basically, this will be. I think there will be a instead of UL DB here, I can write a another list. I can start the list, and then here it will be a instead of label, it will be a list item, and inside the list item, I can have the class to remove the default styling of the list, and then this can be done like this. Okay, and you can be smart enough to, because this will be a list one below the other, so you have to can do a styling, and then you can have side by side. Okay, that you can do it through style. So this is a simple breadcrumbs component, but I created the application context. I encompass the application context across the application, where the breadcrumbs is also exposed. And now in any component I want to use it. So for example, let's create some small maybe, okay, here if I just want to use it, or maybe I'll just create one more component here, so that using the breadcrumbs will be easier. Okay, so let me create a maybe home, right? We were working on home component, home.jsx. Okay, so this home component, let me write here const home. Okay, I want to use so, or maybe men, okay, so assume that this is jeans or men or whatever. Okay, jeans, this is jeans. Okay, so in the jeans I'm having a kind of some jeans, some UL and LI is there, and then I'm just clicking on some button. So there will be some UL, then there should be some link, and in the list there will be some button, right? Some jeans item that I'm clicking. So I'll write here on click equals to what I'm doing it here. I have to expose the I have to dispatch the action, right? So I have to dispatch here. Dispatch what I have to dispatch? I have to dispatch the, so I have to first get the dispatch. So import React. Okay, so then here I have to use the context first. So I'll get what I'll get, because we have exposed the state and the dispatch here. So I'll get the dispatch. Okay, so from where? Equals to from the use context, application context, right? Remember, we've created an application context, not the application context exactly, the method. Let me check the method name. So this is the method name, use application context. So from the use application context, I will get the, so use application. Okay, this is not coming because we are not written export here. We have to write uh, export. Until unless we export it, what happened here? I think I have to write export above. Okay. So once you export, you can import it. We are all exporting all these things right now. Then here now there will be use application context. So where we are dispatching, and if I want to use the state, I can use the state also. Okay, both. Now what I will dispatch, I will dispatch some jeans ID, right? So first of all, you have to dispatch the type. What the type of the action? It's update. For example, it will be, what is the, so it will be update. So update breadcrumbs. Okay, and then payload will be, what will be payload? Payload will be the ID, right? So ID will be the jeans ID, whatever jeans ID. Okay, uh, so there will be some variable that is jeans ID. For now, I'm just writing here some ID, some value. Okay, this might be the jeans ID. Now, when I'm clicking on this particular button, which will be some jeans value name, right? For that particular ID, name of the jeans, maybe killer jeans, whatever, killer jeans, or maybe jeans name. Okay, that's the variable name, jeans name. It's not there, so we can have something like this. Jeans name equals to killer jeans, for example. Okay, so I click on killer jeans. So when I click on killer jeans, I have to update the breadcrumbs, because the breadcrumbs should be men, then jeans, then killer jeans, right? So for that, I have to pass the jeans ID. Now these, when I click here, what will happen is that in the store, in the switch case, it matches the update breadcrumbs. Now update breadcrumbs will receive what? The state, and the state. Okay, so in the action, I'm having the type as the payload. The payload will be some ID. So which means that crumbs should be having some that array will be an object. So initially will be empty, but here I will have the both the ID as well as the label, href and ID. Okay, three things I need, right? So I have to expose three things, not only ID. So it will be label. Label will be the same killer jeans. Killer jeans. Okay. Then the href. So if I click on killer jeans again, where I have to land? I have to land somewhere, right? So the href will be slash. It will be jeans slash dollar jeans ID, right? So it will be tilde in this format. Okay, so it will be in this format, jeans slash jeans ID, and then the jeans ID itself. So here then what it will do is that when we get it, it will take the type, because it will be empty, right? Initially it will be empty. So then it will push over here at the back. So that is the reason. Initial will be men, then jeans, then killer jeans. So that will be the breadcrumb that will be formed. Now to show the breadcrumbs, I created the breadcrumbs component here. it will be capital letter. But where we are using, anywhere you can use anywhere. So here, if I want to use the breadcrumbs, but that will be used at the global level, right? Not anywhere. So which means that I have to go to the index.js. So in the index.js, I'm having app. Okay. Then I'll go to app.js. In the app.js, I don't need this. There will be a route, and then the route will be having the outlet. So there I'll be, suppose I want to use the breadcrumbs here, then I have to use the breadcrumbs in this format. Breadcrumbs. Okay. And to breadcrumbs, I have to get the data. So data equals to whatever the global state is there, right? So that state you will get, that value will get as something like how we got. So the state, which is the basically not the state what we are exposing. We are exposing the context value, not context value. We are application context state, right? So this we will get here. Application context state equals to use application context, right? And this we can provide it to this particular guy. So this is the data that will be received by the breadcrumbs component, and then they can loop it, and then so we can write it this in a better format, but it can loop and then breadcrumbs will be found. Okay, so now, so what we did, we took, so imagine that this is the store, and then this is the application context. And then this is this website. I just write here website. Breadcrumbs. Breadcrumbs. Okay, so what we did, or I just write here website so that it will be easier to understand. So basically what we did, we created the application context. Application context uses the store, okay, to store the breadcrumbs, and then it provides the same breadcrumbs to the website. And website, when the website clicks or dispatches an action, it received by whom? It is received by this particular store, which updates the, okay, let me move it here. So website, when I click, it updates the store, and store, so this is the initial pass. The store gives to application context, and application context gives back to website. So this is what, this is the flow through which we can create the breadcrumbs. Okay. Yeah, so this video is very long. The next video, I'll be explaining you how to create breadcrumbs using storage. And finally, we'll go with the React router. Okay. So that's about this particular video. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel. The subscription is very less. Please subscribe to the channel and let your friends know about this channel. So I'll be coming up, I'm coming up with a lot of videos on 3D website designing as well as developing using 3JS, React Fiber. Then there is Babylon.js, Canon.js. So I'll be creating a lot of AR, VR videos, applications, projects will be doing AR, VR, XR. Some games will be doing 3D games, 2D games will be doing. So that is the thing that I'll be doing in the next 3-4 months. Okay. So please subscribe to the channel. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much.